before you could pay a AI engineer $75K. If you know AI today, no one's going to accept $75K, you know? So there's a much more greater push in the government now. They're offering much higher salaries between like 140 to 190. Someone
140, 190?
Yeah, right. Man. In the government.
That's some good money.
You know, exactly. In the government.
Welcome everybody to another edition of the Tech Woke Podcast. My name is Chris, your host, and on this podcast we talk about cybersecurity, career, and life. And in today's podcast, we're going to talk to a very great guest. His name is Jeffrey Scruggs. He has a master's degree in software engineering. He's also the CTO of Venture for Them. We're going to talk to our guest today, Jeffrey Scruggs. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing well. How about yourself, Chris?
I'm doing good. How's your day going?
It's going well. Had a bit of a run around, but I'm happy to be here and talk to my boy Chris.
And I got you. I know you've been all around. I've been seeing you on LinkedIn, Instagram. You pop. You about to speak at Baddies in Tech, right?
I am. I'll be doing a workshop for them
in
New York City.
And you just did a workshop recently for what's it called? ChatGPT, Black ChatGPT.
So I did a workshop at Diversitech, and recently I did a similar interview, kind of like this. Bit shorter for Chat Black GPT, and I also did a workshop for the youth in Baltimore, teaching them AI, and just what it is, like getting that exposure, because like I think that's really important, especially from 14 to 18, because like I had no idea what I wanted to do when I was like 18, but like when I was like 17, like I had my first black teacher, this engineering teacher, and he ran that class for Iron Fist. He had a military background, even though people were trying him. You know, he ran it, and he inspired me to become an engineer. So just that black representation really counted. Yeah,
and from me talking to you over the time, that's what inspired you to get in where you're at now. But we're gonna hold that back a little bit.
Okay.
So you're in high school, and you're like, okay, at that time you want to be an engineer, or that's the goal, or what was that?
When I was in high school, my goal was really, I think I wanted to be an investment banker. But you know, I realized I was like, hey, I'm pretty good in math, so let me do engineering. You know, and like I said, I saw a black male teacher, first black male teacher, and he was a engineer. So, and he ran the class very well. So he inspired me to get into engineering.
Engineering, okay, yeah. So and then that's where you met my boy Reese in that field, and you was doing civil engineering.
I was doing transportation engineering. Yeah,
at Morgan State.
Yeah, Morgan State University.
So what type of classes were you doing in that field?
So people don't realize this, but there's like a science to how our roads are made. There really is, just to make sure everything just doesn't crash, and like there's elevation, and just like there's a science to how our roads are made. So a lot of civil engineering. I still had to take all the calculuses and stuff like that. Still had to take a few programming classes, but that was pretty much it. Mainly engineering classes, traffic engineering classes.
So, like, what type of programming class did you take? Did you take like Java or something like C++?
Matplot.
Okay.
Or MATLAB, excuse me. Yes.
Okay, so things like that. So you're in school. You go, okay, like I'm about to graduate. So when you graduated, what did you do?
So I worked as a traffic engineer for about 6 months, and I realized I was doing a lot of work or research in the autonomous vehicles field, but I didn't know anything about software, and I was like, let me figure this out. Let me see what it's about. So I stopped that. I go to boot camp, do that for about 6 months. I learned the basic foundations of programming, and after that, I didn't feel I was quite ready to go straight into tech. So I worked as a traffic engineer.
Let's go back though. Let's go back. I want to go back to that boot camp.
Yeah.
So with boot camps, are they worth it? Because I don't think they're worth it.
So back then,
okay,
I think it was. Right now, there's so many resources online, and I think, you know, degrees are worth more with the price you're getting. You're pretty much getting like boot camps for $20K. You can get a degree for $20K and get a master's degree for $20K. So I think it's the same, but you know, if I had what I knew now, you know, of course, you know, I probably wouldn't, but I'm still grateful for the journey. So
okay, you're grateful for it. So boot camp is what helped molded you to get, because you're self-taught, right?
for the most part.
So that's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, when I was working in the field, yeah, I just had the boot camp. That was it. And then all the AI was all self-taught because it wasn't resources like
There
that.
was no resource. So you was in there in the bare bones. So
yes.
To the audience, what are some resources somebody can use if they was in your position and they didn't have no coding experience? How would you tell them to navigate, or any resources you can tell them?
Yes. So when I was learning, I literally just like marathon Udemy courses and YouTube. That was it. I may have did like a Udacity course or two, but I was like Udemy. And they had a lot of promos back then. Get like, even though they're like $100, you can do like little promo and get it for like $15, $19. And I was just like engulfed into it. You got to go all in. You can't like halfway, you know, and I'm going to do this. But nah, like in your 20s is the time to grind, you know, so you can live gloriously in the 30s, you know.
You gotta work hard in the early days. And like you said, the AI, like that was like, where were you going for the resources? And that was basically it didn't
Udemy.
exist.
You like
they had
really,
it on Udemy.
They had a little bit. Yeah, they had how to build neural networks. They're, like AI has changed throughout the years. Like I was using TensorFlow and PyTorch. Today, most people are just getting the latest AI model and plugging that into their app. Honestly, but no, I was in the weeds, bro.
I got you. 'Cause it's the hot term now. It's the hot term now. So a lot of people are like, okay, they're saying they're an AI expert, but they don't know nothing about coding.
They don't. They don't. You know, it's kind of like you could be a car expert, but not know the weeds of how the mechanics of a car. But you know, I don't shade them. I'm not knocking the hustle, but you know, there's definitely different categories, and I think you should know how to code if you're going to go fully in, simply because like it can take whatever you're trying to do so much further. Otherwise, you're at the mercy of the app developer. And the other thing is that like usually if you know the code, you're getting access to this technology like 3 to 4 months in advance before it becomes mainstream. Like remember that that app where you could upload a bunch of photos and you got a photo of your face like in different environments, stuff like that, like in a jungle or in space and
like
stuff
for
like
LinkedIn or LinkedIn photos or stuff.
Yeah, LinkedIn photos, or just like it gives you art design based on your face, you know, digital photo. So I did that like 4 months before it became mainstream. That's the usefulness of knowing the code and actually being in the weeds versus like when the new algorithm first comes out, everybody's on it. And then you get the apps like 3 months later, and that's when it becomes mainstream. So if you're in the weeds, you have access to this new technology, this new algorithm, whatever, new breakthrough as soon as it comes out versus having to wait somebody to build an app on top of it.
Yes, that's amazing to know. I didn't even know that. So
yeah.
And so when you was first starting off, were you into front end or back end, or you was just doing the whole shebang?
So front end, back end is more of a
Can you explain it a little bit more?
Yeah, it's more of a web development thing. So front end is more of like the interface, like how it looks visually appealing, you know, HTML, CSS, versus like the back end is like the database portion, like how the logic of everything connects together. AI is kind of a different field because it's not quite the web development sometimes, but there is a front end kind of back end thing, but it's kind of like a niche of its own. But I would, if you had to put it in a category, maybe it would be the back end. Excuse me.
So maybe okay, I understood.
Yeah.
So just to go into progress, so you're working your regular traffic control job, right? Mm-hmm. And you're learning AI, software development, stuff like that. Can you explain the determination to do that?
Man, I was working corporate, and I was just like, I like working from home. Like if I could like go on a beach and make money wherever I'm at, you know, I think that'd be cool. And it's just like much more relaxing job. You don't have to deal with the corporate politics, stuff like that. I mean, you still have to do that. Like I go on site once a month, but it's nothing compared to 5 days a week dealing with folks, you know.
That was the motivation.
Yeah, that was that. And also I had a natural affinity towards it. And yeah, I remember, I think I was at a talk, I was at a comedy show in Towson University, and Hassan Minaj, he's a comedian, and somebody was just like, hey, I really like philosophy. Should I learn philosophy? He's just like, no, what you should do is like learn to code and like use that to fund your like hobbies. So that always like got in the back of my mind and stuff like that. So I'm like, I can use this to like do my other stuff and fund my great life. So
That's smart.
Yeah.
Smart man.
Yeah.
So can you explain the skills you learned on your journey before you got your first, and how long was you studying until you got your first job?
Probably about a year.
A year.
Yeah. I mean, after I was done the boot camp, I had went back in traffic engineering, but in boot camp, I just learned the foundationals of how to program, like Python and stuff like that. I still had they weren't teaching AI in boot camps back then, so I was getting books. I did get books as well.
A lot of hard books.
yeah. I mean, yeah. They have practical, more practical than just theory. I was watching YouTube videos. I was watching Udemy videos, and yeah, I just like literally I would go to work during the day, come home, go through a lesson, try to build something. Yeah.
That's good. Can you explain what AI is?
So AI is essentially mimicking humans.
Mm-hmm.
It's like human intelligence, artificial intelligence. I always say that if you can break your problem down to a number, then you can apply AI to it because it's pretty much pattern recognition. For instance, a popular AI is natural language processing. So that is NLP, which is essentially, ChatGPT, stuff like that. So on a, not to go too much in the weeds, but to break it down,
go as much as you can.
Yeah. Let's say you have the whole alphabet. For this example, you have in each letter, you break this problem down. You have words to a number. You give each letter a number: A, B, C, D, E, F, G, 1, 2, 3, 4, like 0 to 26. And then you have all these numbers, and you have a whole paper. Then you have thousands of papers, hundreds of thousands of papers. You put all those numbers into a machine. The machine starts to recognize patterns, and it understands the numbers and correlates into letters.
Over
That's
time.
how it's able to figure it out.
So it's like learning over time in a way.
Yes.
And that's how it's mimicking humans.
Yes, it's understanding the patterns in the numbers.
Tell me about when you first got your first job as a software engineer.
Yeah, so I was actually working at a startup because it's hard to get into the tech field.
Would you
Even back
recommend that
then.
to people to get in a startup first?
Yes, because I would apply to jobs and they'd be like, wait till you get 6 months of experience and then we'll call you, but I wasn't getting paid. But this is just like any job in any industry. You usually got to work free a little bit, do an internship or something like that before you get some experience, and then you can finally get that paid gig. So I was working at a company, startup company, which I won't mention the name.
Absolutely,
Yeah. But and we were building stuff. I was going to events, and one thing I started to do was do like a AI challenge. Like back then they had like web app challenges. So they built like 20, I think the thing was like build an app every week, like for 20 weeks or something like that. AI is a bit more extensive. So I did 5. I did like the 5 AI challenge. And I did it every couple weeks and stuff. I released something new. And since it was like 6 years ago, it went viral.
Oh, it did?
Yes, on LinkedIn.
Oh, for real? LinkedIn?
Yeah.
So you was building in public?
Yes, building in public, uploading your work. I highly recommend that. And it was 6 years ago, so it went viral. And people want to go viral on Twitter. I want to go viral on LinkedIn because that's where professionals at. So it went viral at the time. Was getting a lot of attention. Someone asked me to go to a job fair by BWI. They said, hey, come to this job fair. I think you may like it. I was there. A lot of companies were there. The Navy was there.
Okay.
And they saw my resume. They were just like, we needed AI engineers like yesterday. So they gave me a job on the spot, helped me get a clearance.
Okay. So you got a clearance and a job on the spot? Okay.
Yeah. So they started doing the process for getting me a clearance and stuff like that. And they pretty much gave me a job offer on the spot. Just had to make sure the clearance went through.
So if the audience is listening, build in public, especially on LinkedIn, because I'm watching LinkedIn all the time. I see LinkedIn probably more than I see Instagram. So make sure building in public to help you get a job in software engineering. So can you explain the valuable of a clearance? Why clearance is so valuable?
Yes, clearances are valuable because they essentially say you can be trusted with sensitive information. And there's a lot of very lucrative and good government jobs that are unlocked with clearances. So yeah, clearances are very good because they get you access to very good government jobs. That's what I'll say. Yeah.
I understood. You can go along on what happened after that. So you got your job, and then you start working, and then especially in the government at the time, I can only understand there's like very little AI software engineers there.
Yeah, there was so it's interesting now because somebody sent me something. The government is trying to get AI talent. So usually software engineers are paid okay, but like they need AI engineers, and they're like actually increasing much more for that salary now for AI engineers in the government because they need to push for more good AI engineers because you can't. Before you could pay a AI engineer 75K. If you know AI today, no one's gonna accept 75K. Yeah. You know, so there's a much more greater push in the government now. They're offering much higher salaries between like 140 to 190 for someone.
140, 190.
Yeah,
oh,
right
man.
in the government.
That's some good money.
You know, exactly in the government. Like so, yeah. Before you have to go to like, consulting, like more the private sector, versus the public. So, yeah.
Hey everybody, we're taking a quick break from the video. Just want to tell you to join the Patreon community. In that community, we talk about the cybersecurity field. I show you resumes to help you get into the field. And I also show you interview questions on how to navigate the field and get a job in the field. So just want to check out the community. Back to the video. What's the entry level salary if you was going to get into this field?
So, I'd say, well, I'll start when I entered. When I was working at the Naval Surface Warfare Center, I was getting paid 75K.
Okay.
Starting out, I thought that was good. I was like,
I'm
24.
I'm rich.
24. I was able to get my own place. I moved down to Virginia for a little bit, and I'm like, okay, that's good, And COVID happened, so I'm like, oh, I'm secure. I got a good job, decent job, Stayed there for a little bit, and I realized there's a lot more money in like contracting, consulting, and I went to a company called Booz Allen Hamilton. Mm-hmm. One of the big four kind of gigs.
It's one of the top. That's the hardest one. I can't even. I still to this day can't get in Booz.
Booz,
give me a job. Go ahead.
Booz is cool. And I worked there. However, I wanted to. There's a guy named Benjamin Harvey, and essentially he started up a company called AI Squared. He had wanted to bring me on to his team. However, Booz isn't too cool with, working a side kind of thing on the side, so we didn't want to like hide it, do anything behind the rug or anything like that. Yeah, you gotta tell them straight up. So I told them, they gave me the runaround for the longest time. Eventually they said no. So, and this was when AI Squared was very first started, and I am upset to this day because they just got bunch of millions of dollars. They are up there. Yeah. You know Ben? AI Squared. Yeah. So yeah. So anyway, after some time I hopped to another company.
Yeah.
But that opportunity was no longer available. But I did my time, got my experience, had Booz on the resume, did some work for the Pentagon. So I'm grateful regardless.
And then can you explain too, and it's okay if you don't want to talk about this topic, but like, is there any way to do, like, say you have a job working for a contracting company, is there any way to work maybe something on the side or 1099 work? Are you able to do that?
Yeah, you can. Certain companies are more open to it than others. The company I work for now, I won't say it here, but they're much more open. They understand, they support, as long as it doesn't get in the way of your day-to-day job. So yeah.
You got to go to companies like that.
Yeah.
Can you start elaborating when you started Venture for Them?
Yes. So, Venture for Them. I have a friend, Keontae Bush. He's a CEO of Venture for Them. He had started it a year. I came in a year afterwards after they started it. He wanted me to be the CTO. At first, I was just going to help develop the website and maybe help with an app or something like that. But he's just like, no, I want you to be CTO, part of the team. And I know Keontae from like freshman year college, like 2012 September, like something like that. So we have years of experience and working together and stuff like that. We've won competitions together. Like we've done great work together.
Like this, you tied together.
Yeah, that's my bro. So he asked me to be a part of Venture for them. You know, we've gone leaps and bounds since in the last year.
I've been seeing.
Yeah. We've had you know, we have these pitch competitions. We have these things called Founder Fridays. We actually have an accelerator that we have every year where we bring new founders and we bring founders that have done it and done an amazing job and have them give advice and such to them. We actually have our applications open now until the end of the month, July 31st. So definitely, if you're seeing this, apply to our accelerator. It's open to new businesses in the DMV area.
And your accelerator is for HBCUs, right?
HBCU students or alumni.
Okay.
Yes, in the DMV area. Our company also was a winner of Black Ambition Prize by Pharrell Williams. We were one of the finalists.
That's good.
Yeah. And the money was good, but the network that came with it was even better. So I'll say that.
Okay, so we're going to go a little bit more into like it's for the audience to understand. What is an accelerator?
So accelerator is kind of like, let's say you have a new business, and you kind of need some help kind of accelerating your business, or just get some advice, knowledge on what to do next. Like, let's say they had a podcast accelerated, help bring in money, give you the do's and don'ts of how to run it, and such like that, kind of to give you like knowledge about an aspect and give you resources as well on how to better accelerate your business. Yeah.
Like, I'm just going to just work it out so I can understand better.
Mm-hmm.
For example, I got a software company that's an AI.
Mm-hmm.
I need some money.
Mm-hmm.
I need some resources.
Yeah.
So I'm coming to Venture for them, and we'll have a pitch competition to see if we can get some money.
Yeah.
Okay. And when you pitch and you get you get a percentage, or how does that work?
No, we don't actually.
Oh, you don't?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Some. I mean, maybe in the future, but right now that's not our.
Okay.
Yeah, we give money like our pitch competitions, our accelerator. I think the first top 3 companies get money. Like our first place, second place, they get money, and you get knowledge along the way, and yeah, like I said, you get access to a lot of our network and resources, our ecosystem. We have a vast ecosystem. I'm not sure if you were at Black Commerce Conference.
Oh, no.
But we helped with an activation there. And essentially it's like a track where we had entrepreneurs and businesses, and we brought in a lot of companies in our network to do workshops. It was at the Gaylord National Hotel in D.C.
Okay, and can you explain more in depth about some of the resources? Do you have different founders come? I know you was telling me about a couple.
Yeah, there's we've had, I think the biggest name was probably Isaac Hayes.
I just seen him at Podcast Summit.
Yep. He was one of our guests that spoke to our cohort of our new businesses and such like that. So, and they drop gems and knowledge of how to maneuver, in this business. And I say, business is the ultimate sport.
Yeah, it's a sport. It's a competition.
Yeah, it's the ultimate sport. So,
and sometimes, like, even with the software industry, it's kind of like the music business. In a way, you gotta give something to get something. It's like you gotta know your stuff, and what y'all doing, giving them these resources so they can know what they're getting themselves into. That's
yeah. I say, there's a saying, competition happens at the bottom. Everybody at the top is collaborating.
Yeah,
so
that's a good one.
And I think the goal is really to help give back in the community. So the perks of the things are nice, but really the goal is to help our community and do better, and get this knowledge out. I think if people knew better, they would do better. But everybody wants to be business, but they don't know how to maneuver. So we're creating an ecosystem where you can get knowledge and learn and get the resources and such like that. So that's really the big goal.
And know that other black people can do it. Because me growing up, I grew up in the hood, man. I grew up in 49th, D.C. So like at the time, like even with me, I was like, oh, the best thing you can be is a bus driver. And from where I'm from, like that's like you can make 60K, and even 60K. I was like, man, 60K, man. And I'm like, I'm seeing salaries now. I'm like, okay, that's different. But 60K back then, I was like, man, yeah. But just to see another person's doing it, because even coding, my software engineer, I didn't think, as a youngin, that just because of where I grew up, I didn't know that you can do that.
Yeah. Same. Like I thought, oh, it's too hard. But no, you can do. I have the mindset. I can do anything. I think everybody should have that. Like, if I wasn't a software engineer, if I want to be the best ice skater tomorrow, I would stop and I'd be the greatest ice skater tomorrow. But that's just a mindset. It's a little delusional, but like that's just how I feel.
You gotta have an ego.
Yeah, you gotta have an ego, or just to get through life. Like it's good to not have ego, but certain things just to move forward, you gotta be a little delusional. Like
yeah, I'm very delusional.
Yeah,
I think. In my mind, I'm the best in the world.
Exactly.
I have to, but I'm not cocky.
Yeah,
it's a difference.
Yeah.
I'm not cocky.
Yeah. Not arrogant.
I'm not arrogant. Arrogant, cocky. Yeah, I ain't that. But so you okay? So what's the event coming up soon for Venture for them? Where's it going? How would they register?
You can register online. I can send a link to you. It's a jot form. Just sign up and put that out there. Okay. This is the application's closed July 31st.
Okay. So you got a lot going on. You got the social media. You're speaking at different events, stuff like that. How are you dealing with that? And then you got a code too.
I do code. I still got my day job. I think the thing is I love it. I love the grind. So it feels good. It feels good to do good. I'm a firm believer of that. So I'm loving the journey overall. So it's also multifaceted. So some days I may want to code, some days I want to talk to people, some days I want to go to a concert, some days I may just want to play the piano, and I think not being boxed into one aspect helps it make it a bit more fun because you're doing many things versus if you're just doing one thing, or if that's your only lane, then it can be a bit more stagnant, So just finding balance in everything that you do. Maybe is balance the right word, but just having being able to put on multiple hats makes it a bit more fun of the journey.
And how are you dealing with mental health? Because for myself, it's being in this industry, it can make you go a little bit crazy. So how are you dealing with that?
Yeah, sometimes I gotta reset as well. So you gotta, sometimes you out in events, you go event, you know how it could be. And sometimes you just gotta all right, I don't have the energy or the mental to go out this week. So recently I had just shut down all my social media for a week. I wasn't gonna go off forever. That's the cliche thing. But I literally just shut everything down. Do not disturb. You'll get to me when you get to me next week. I'll answer that next week. I'm just gotta recollect yourself and try to do that. I try to do that quarterly or every 6 months, trying to do it quarterly and just kind of come into yourself and reset, give your brain a break, and then go back out there and get back to the ride.
Yeah, because watching you're very spiritual. So I know you a lot of Zen, things like that. I see.
So I grew up Christian Baptist. I think I like to say my religion is love.
That's what it is.
Yeah,
it's love.
I think that's the root of most of it. This is I'm not trying to start nothing, but I think Jesus and Buddha would be best friends. I also think Moses and Muhammad would have been best friends too. But if you think about it, they both kind of, if you left them all in the same room for an hour and they had to talk just like me and you, I'm pretty sure they'd all leave the room best friends.
I get where you come because it's the same concept.
Yeah. So I think there's more that unites us than divides us.
Okay, and then also too, being a software engineer, being a black software engineer, how does that feel? Do you ever been challenged by other cohorts or things like that, or are you been doubted because you're being black?
Yeah, I find when I'm among my people, it's a little bit. It's a lot more smoother versus I get challenged a lot more in different environments.
How do you deal with that?
I speak what I know.
Speak
You
your
know,
truth.
yeah. And I'm not shy to say like, oh, I don't know everything. I don't know something. So if I don't know, I don't know. I'm not just gonna try to make something up. So, like, I think that's important because you can't know everything. You know, even in the AI field, it's constantly evolving. I know the foundationals. I know how to build apps, stuff like that. But if I don't know like a certain aspect, I'm not gonna try to fake and be like, oh yeah, and just BS it. No, I don't know.
I respect that.
Yeah.
So what's your
I can figure it out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where can the audience find you?
You can find me on LinkedIn, Jeffrey Scruggs. Follow my Instagram, the light pharaoh, _light_pharaoh. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
And also, what's your goals for the next 5 years?
My goals for the next 5 years.
I want to hear it because when we talk in the next 5 years, I'm like, remember you told me that.
Yeah.
I'm a keen on speaking things into existence.
Yeah. I want to do a TED Talk.
Okay.
I want to get on a bit more platforms. I kind of want to hone in on my craft. Also, hopefully, want to get like married and stuff like that. At that age, but yeah, just kind of get how to put it. I want to become a better person, and I think if I become a better person, like internally, that'll help in every aspect of my life. So if I can communicate better with you, I can be a better friend to him, her. So I think that'll help overall. So if I just focus on being a better me, that will help in all aspects of life.
Yeah, I appreciate you, Jeffrey. I appreciate you coming on the platform. You know, the time that you just giving it the knowledge and everything you're doing in the field is great, and I appreciate you for coming on.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you, Chris. Thank you for having me.
No problem. And to close everything out, thank you for everybody for watching the Tech Woke podcast. Remember, like the video, subscribe to the channel, put a comment down below if you have a question. Also, check out the Patreon. We put out new episodes early on the Patreon and give a lot of knowledge on software engineering, cybersecurity, a lot of knowledge that I know from being in the field for a while. So that's pretty much everybody. Remember, everybody, get 1% better every day. Peace out. I'll see you on the next one.